friends, welcome to SFDC Amplified. Today we are going to discuss about sObjects in Apex. Before I start, if you have not done already, please subscribe to my channel so that you can get the latest updates. So let's get started. Today we are going to discuss what is an sObject, how to create sObject variables, and how to access sObject fields. So let's see what it is. So sObject is nothing but the standard Salesforce objects as well as the custom Salesforce objects. So exactly what does it mean? So I will go to the org and see here this account, contact, campaigns, all of these are the standard Salesforce objects, just already given by the Salesforce. And if we need to create our own objects because of the business needs, for example, hotel is a custom object. So basically for different needs we use different objects, and combination of standard and custom objects makes sObject. And now if you say that, okay, how can you differentiate whether an object is standard or custom object? You can do so using the API name. So how you go? You go to the setup, you click here, a new window will open, and here you click on the object manager. Once you click on our object manager, for example, you want to know about the account, so you can see the API name. With the API name, you can see that this is a standard object. We will go in more detail, but see, hotel is having append C. So this is a custom object. So that's how you are able to differentiate between standard and custom object using their API name. Standard object don't have the C appended to it, which custom object do have. So that is the first concept which we need to understand. Now that we are clear about what are standard objects and custom objects, next thing comes is how to create sObject variables. So let's get started on this. So now what we do is, to create a variable, we say account ACC equal to new account. So now we have to understand this code. So let's understand it. What does it mean? So in my previous section, in my previous video, I talked about introduction to data type and variables. There I discussed that there are 4 types of data type in Apex. One of them is primitive, and there is collection, then enum, and right now I am talking about the sObject. If you haven't seen that video, I will highly encourage to see that. I will be putting it in the description. So now here what it is doing, account is nothing but the sObject data type, and ACC is the variable which stores the value, and then this is the new keyword. So this is important to understand that why we use new keyword. We use the new keyword to instantiate the object. To instantiate. So here we are instantiating the object. Here we are instantiating the object account. So that's how we are be using the new keyword. So what is happening is, by using the new keyword, we are able to store the account values in the variable ACC, which is of account data type. So that's how this works. Now let's see in the code. So now if you have to go to the developer console, here you will be clicking the developer console, and a window will pop up. An easy way to do is simply copy the link and put it here so that you're able to do it easily. Now how will I write the code is, I will go to the debug and I will go to the open execute anonymous window, and here I will be writing the code. So now what does this window does is it execute code. So the code does not get stored, but we can compile and execute it, and that's what the anonymous window does. So what I will say is account acc equal to new account. And when I write it like this, that's how we are instantiating the account. Okay, fine. Now I want to see that what is stored in ACC. So I will write system.debug ACC. What is system.debug? So basically, we can know that what is going behind the code by using the system.debug. You have to be doing the friendship with system.debug because it's very important. So it helps in troubleshooting the code. You can fix the code. You can know what is happening. So basically, it prints value in the debug log. So whenever you're not understanding that what the code means, simply put system.debug. So now I want to see, okay, what happens with ACC. I will click on execute. The execute will run my entire code. If I click on execute highlighted, then only the code which I highlight, that will run. This we can use if we are writing multiple codes and we want to run just only one. That time we can use execute highlighted. For now, I will run execute. Once I run the execute, I will go to the debug only. So now you see that we see account and we don't see any value. So why this is happening? This is happening because we have to know that account variable is initialized to be null. So initially you can see there is no value because it is initialized to be null. So that's how this works. So now we understood that how this is an example of the standard object. Now let's take an example of the custom object. In my case, I have created an hotel object. So now we will take the same example. So what I will do is I will say hotel and then I will append it with C, and then I will do the variable naming, and then I will use the new keyword to instantiate the hotel object, and then again I will use the hotel. So the thing to remember is that we are using append C to instantiate, and here also that initially the value will be 0, that nothing will be there, initialized to null, and later we can put the value. So that's how it works. Now that we have understand that how we are able to instantiate the custom and standard object, we are able to clear one part. Now let's go to the part 2. Now we have to add fields value inside it. So how we do it? Let's see. So I will simply go there in the debug log, and there only we will be writing our entire code. So let's see. I will go to the debug, open execute anonymous window, and here I will go further. So now I have to write the code. One way is to add field inside the constructor, which means we will go here and we say name equal to Smriti, and here we will be running the code. And right now we have to put insert ACC. It's a DML operator which is not part of this session, but we have to write insert ACC so that we are able to run the code and put the values in the record. Suppose we are not putting insert ACC, it will not get saved to the ACC. Basically, Smriti record won't get saved to ACC. So we have to use insert. Now let's see what is stored in the ACC. So I will simply execute it. And I see that Smriti is stored and the ID is also generated for that particular record. So that's how it works. Now, suppose I just want to see the name. So I will see ACC name. So by using the dot notation, I am able to add the fields to the object. So I will say acc.name. So what happens? I will execute it. and I will say debug only, and I see Smriti. Okay, here I am able to see Smriti. Let's see what happens in the account object. So I go to the accounts and I see that Smriti has been created. So that's how you are able to create values. Okay, interesting. Let's see what happens with a custom object. So I go here. So for example, Marriott is already created. I will simply delete it to show how we can create it again. So let's delete it. That's how we delete the record. And now I will go to the developer console. I will open the anonymous window, and here I will do the little changes. I will use hotel, and now I have to append with C, and here I will be putting H, whatever variable name I want to use, and again I will be using hotel, and I will say C, and in name I am writing Marriott. And that's how we are able to see. Now if we execute it, I have to change it to H, and now if I execute it, and click on the debug only, you will see that Marriott is coming here. We can also see in the objects. Right now nothing is there. We will refresh the page and we will be able to see Marriott here. See, that's how this works. So now we are able to create the records for the object. There's one more way we can write it. That is using the dot notation. So I will again go to the developer console. I will open the execute anonymous window, and here I will be writing in a different way. So let's see, we are talking about this object. Now the different way to do is, I will remove here, I will create hotel, as in I will be initializing, and right now the value is null. Now what I will do is, I will simply say h dot name equal to test and execute. Now what happens here is, if I go and open hotel and refresh the page, I am able to see test here. So what you understood by it, there are two ways we can create the record. One way we discussed is by add fields in the constructor, and another way is using the dot notation. There is no difference between these two. You can use any one of them. So that's how you are able to create. Now we have to note that we need to populate the required field before inserting the record. What I mean by saying is that suppose this is account object and we are creating a record. So it will not get saved. If I click on save, it is throwing error. It's saying that these required fields must be completed. The same happens when we are writing the code. We have to give account name, otherwise the record will not get inserted. So every time you are doing it in the Apex, you just need to see that which records are mandatory, that is required, and you have to insert those records. You have to populate that records so that you are able to show it. So now I will show it with the help of example. So I have written an article on this sObjects in Apex. So I highly recommend you to go through it, and I will be putting the link in the description. So in this, I have put all the codes which you can practice in your own org. So right now I'm talking about this one. So what happens is, suppose I have made SLA, SLA expiration, and XLA serial number, and now I have made these fields required. So if I make these three fields required, we need to create them, we need to populate them in our developer console. So that's what we have to remember, that we need to populate whichever fields are required. So that's how it works. Now there is one more point which I want to show you. Now suppose you want to link one account with the contact. So how we do it? So for instance, this is an account sfdc amplified, and I want to link it with a contact. So how we are able to link it? Basically creating relationship between account and contacts. So if I go to contact here, what you see here is that Mehta is linked with sfdc amplified, but we also want another contact object to get linked with it. How we do it? So I will go to developer console, and here we will do it. Okay, so let's see how it happens. So I will say contact equal to new contact. You will see that what contact field is required. So we'll be simply going to the new, and we can see here the last name is mandatory. So we will simply go here and we will be using the last name. So I'll be saying contact last name equal to, and we will be putting some values. And here we will be putting, now we have to insert it, right? So what we have to do, c dot account id, because we want to associate account id. Now what is account id? Account id is a field on the contact object. Now how you can see that? You go here, click on object manager, click on contact, you go here on the contact, and here you are able to see fields and relationships. So if I am talking about account ID, this is the account ID field which is there. So basically this links account with the contacts. So now what you will be doing is, you will be simply going to the developer console. You will be saying that populate the ID here. So now I want to link here. So I'm just giving an example. It's not good to hard code the IDs, but here I'm choosing an example. So I will be going to the account object, and I will be taking the example of the sfdc amplified, which I just discussed. So I will just take this ID of that particular record, and I will be putting this here. And then after putting it here, what I need to do is, I need to populate it. Like after that we have to insert it. So I will say insert variable, insert c, and we will be executing it. So now we have executed it. Let's see what happens. So now we will be going to the contact and see Shriyasta is linked with sfdc amplified. So that's how we are able to link it. So this is how we associate. So that is complete about the sObjects, and I will highly recommend you to do a practice. So you go here, I have given you in the exercise also. So exercise is to create an account record in Apex with the name test, and let me know in the comment section that you were able to create or not, and or otherwise you are facing any problem. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel, you can subscribe to the blog, and also you can connect with me using the WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever you want to. So subscribe to the YouTube channel to get the latest updates. Thank you for connecting and seeing the video.